right, welcome back to the podcast, episode 18. We got everybody back here. Everybody say what's up.
What's
What's up,
poppin'?
guys?
What's up, man?
So, unfortunately, we have some breaking news from Dre.
All right. So the breaking news for today on August 28th.
That's today's date.
Yes.
28th. All right. August 28th. We just got the breaking news that Chadwick Boseman, lead actor of Black Panther, 42 James Brown biopic, and Get On Up.
And the
Did I just say
Bloods.
James Brown biopic for 42?
Yeah. No, you said you're good. You good. I mean, they got the message.
Okay. All right.
He was the biopic for James Brown. He was
Okay,
in
but
42.
basically, actor Chadwick Boseman passed away from colon cancer just a few hours ago, and he was very influential for the culture, and not only our culture but pop culture as a whole. So I'm just gonna leave it up to the crew to talk about how they feel about his tragic passing.
I think, right next to Denzel, like in a black person's household, because I remember my grandma, she always like holds Denzel to a high court. Like Denzel's an actor, but I think as like a black actor, you got to put Chadwick Boseman up there. I mean, like with the roles, the biopics that he's done, especially in the James Brown one and the 42. I think 42 was his best movie, in my opinion. I like that one the best. I forgot he was even 30-something years old in that movie. I thought he was 10. I meant to say 20, but 10 came out. But
What?
Anyway, the point is he was very influential in his roles, and both his roles really empowered the black community as a whole. Whether it's Black Panther, that really produced a sense of pride within the black community.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Took the words right out of my mouth.
Yeah, I remember I was a freshman when Black Panther came out, and we were running around the hallways saying, Wakanda forever, and it was a big movement at the time, and it was really cool, just seeing a superhero like me on the big screen,
I feel you.
Yep.
Dre, I feel you.
It's just kind of crazy. I know we were talking before the podcast got on about who's going to replace him. The only reason I said nobody should replace him because I feel like that'd be kind of disrespectful. Like,
It is Disney.
I know the show kind of has to go on, but I mean, there's a way they can phase him out if they really wanted to. But I understand, this is Marvel, this is a business, but the respectful thing probably would be like phasing his character out of respect. But we'll see what happens there. But tragic passing and if you haven't seen those movies and the one on Netflix,
and the Five Bloods.
Yeah, that movie. Check that out as well.
It's a Spike Lee joint.
Then there was another movie he was really getting in shape for that he just produced. He was like a detective or something like that. But
oh yeah,
I don't know if that ever came out. But
the one isn't that Five Bridges? Or
man, I don't know. Y'all go look up his Rotten Tomato score or whatever.
I think it already came out. Five Bridges.
Whatever.
Or it was supposed to come out, but it's already filmed.
But yeah, still great actor, and that kind of leads us into our topic of black empowerment and black building up amongst the community with the current situation we have in America when it comes to the Jacob Blake shooting, police brutality situation, as well as how the leagues and how the world is reacting to this. And it's another example that this is a problem, and we need to fix this problem. It's not like a going away issue. And I've been tweeting a lot more about it. I remember I feel like the world, or not so much like individuals, but like as a whole, as soon as it stopped trending and stuff like that. It stopped being a topic. Like as soon as it started trending, it seems like less people were thinking about it. Less people were worried about it. It was just going to go into the shadows of current issues we have in America. So what do you have to say about the whole situation, the whole James Blake situation?
It's just another instance.
I mean, Jacob Blake, my bad, excuse me.
It's just another instance of how, like, just with this situation, there's a situation with someone who's white, who is resisting arrest and gets, tased. There's plenty of times where there's been like similar situations. They compare, oh, a black guy did this and now he's dead or he's paralyzed or, oh, he's in jail, but a white guy can do something or a white person can do something same or even worse and walk away with their life, with their freedom, with minimal time served, in handcuffs instead of in a casket. And it just really goes to show you how we can't, as a people, it's crazy to think that we can progress in a system that was already built to keep us enslaved. Like they brought in slaves and then what they replaced slaves with? Jail. So it's like the only way to really progress the situation is to really do like a reform, like really reform, because if that doesn't happen, I don't see anything changing.
Real spiel.
Definitely.
So, like, in
I
regards
was
to this,
watching this thing on Go,
okay, my bad. So, in regards to the shooting, how do y'all feel about the shooting itself? Because, all right, I might be under. This might be like a controversial opinion, right? I don't think. All right, I'm gonna start off by saying, all right, I don't think Jacob Blake should have been shot. All right, there's like, if you watch the full video, there's multiple instances where the cops could de-escalate the situation. Like, they they claim that the taser wasn't working or something, but they could easily tackle him, or they could put more physical force into like before just shooting him like they did in the video. But at the point where he did get shot, I can see where the cops felt like they needed to shoot based on the fact that he was reaching into a car. But I feel like I don't think the shooting itself was necessarily unjustified, but the build up to the shooting was unjustified because there's like 10 minutes of them just like not taking any initiative to kind of de-escalate the situation where it shouldn't have even got to the point where that was like on the table of them shooting him.
I feel you.
definitely.
I feel
And
what you're saying. I thought you were gonna say something messed up. I mean, I can see what you're saying. I just think it's not so much just to like. Thank God that the man survived, but he is paralyzed, or
Yeah.
he's gonna. And I think the problem with the shooting is not like him also getting shot. It's him getting shot 7 times. You see, he had a gun. Like if you shoot once, twice, okay, maybe, all right, I can feel you. But 7 times, close range. I mean, it's hard to make a case in his regard.
Yeah, but also defend them there because not that it's the right thing, but they are taught to neutralize the target. But I don't think that's an individual police officer problem. I think that's more like a police as a whole problem. So, like I do think they are in the wrong. The officers were in the wrong for not being able to de-escalate the situation in this particular example. But I think instead of putting the pressure on the individual officers for, I guess, following what they would see as their proper code of conduct. We need to go to like the police departments themselves and get the training and the code of conduct changed so like officers are better trained to handle these situations.
Well, the problem with that police force specifically is that it showed, especially in the Wisconsin area. So tying this back into the NBA and all the sports leagues, Sterling Brown of the Milwaukee Bucks about a year or two ago, he actually was a victim of police brutality on the Milwaukee Bucks as an NBA player,
Yeah.
and that same place. And then you also have John Henson. He was also a member of the Bucks. He was also uh, a victim of discrimination and eventually police um, brutality. And also Thabo Cephalosha was also a victim in that area. And then a day after that, you have at protests about the Jacob Lake situation, you have a AK-47 white boy or white guy that just is just taking the streets, is being a vigilante. And like the term vigilante, it to me, he wasn't being a vigilante, he's being a terrorist. Like he killed Americans, he killed black Americans, or no, he didn't. No, he didn't. But he killed Americans.
One black and 2 whites.
Yeah.
I think,
I
or
mean,
it might have been all 3 whites. I'm not really sure.
the point is the fact that he's even able to walk around with an AK-47. If I had it, or whatever,
Actually, he didn't. One person didn't die. He shot 3 people, but only 2 died.
Well, if I was walking around with a gun like that, I guarantee you I'll be put down. That's my point.
But like I said, I don't think it's a like. I think we should be targeting the police department as a whole. Like, I think this is different from like in the past for like arrest the cops who so and so killed so and so or whatever. I think we just need to go straight to the police department and start trying to get some of these policies changed. So like when they feel like they're in danger, like they shouldn't feel like they're in danger. Like there should be ways to de-escalate the situation before that even comes up. Because I say 9 times out of 10, like the situation could be de-escalated. Like most of the times people aren't just like, and like the rare times police do get shot, there's usually times to de-escalate before it just comes into like a shootout.
My thing is it that they don't have the training or that they're just choosing not to act upon it? Because, like I said earlier, there's been similar situations in almost every case where a white person's done the exact same thing and the situation's handled completely different.
Yeah, I think that's the result of 2 things. I think there is a obvious like racial bias, not only in like the police, but I think a lot of people have a subconscious racial bias. So I think that's obviously going to play a part into policing. So I think we also need to work on like getting people recognize that they might have a bias of, oh, if I see a black person, he's a criminal. We need to work on that, not only as like a police, but society as a whole. And then the second thing is about just using like unjustified force. I don't know if y'all heard about the killology. It's basically most police departments in the U.S. have this program where it teaches police that they shouldn't feel bad for killing or for shooting at a suspect that they shouldn't feel bad for shooting somebody. And so basically the idea is that I can't really put it. I got to do a little more like I got to re-express myself. But it's basically supposed to absolve police of the guilt of shooting somebody, so they kind of remove themselves from the situation, so they can't empathize with the person that they're shooting. And so we add that to the racial bias, and you can see why there's so much police brutality against black people, because they can't really empathize with the people that they're injuring or killing or shooting.
So, real quick question, all right? So we've seen multiple situations around the U.S. and we talked about this before. We talked about police reform. We talked about all these different ideas. What do y'all think is next? Because you have NBA players, you have MLB players, which I thought, to be honest, MLB is a little bit bigger than NBA because MLB is mostly it's more of a traditional league. So I think the fact that they're also standing up is like big. You know what I'm saying? They're a different kind of league than the NBA and the NFL. So it really reaches more traditional viewers. And the fact that they stood up and also protested this injustice is also pretty big. So what do you guys think will be coming about? Like we look at the year 2020, it's a pretty crazy year. I know people joke about it on Twitter and we joke about it a lot, but in the grand scheme of things, this is a very crazy year. And it's not just, and the crazy thing is like people think the solution to everything is vote. Vote is a big issue. Like vote is a big part of like change, but also holding your Congress accountable, holding your legislators accountable. This isn't just a president do this, president do that. It's also Congress, legislator, governor do this, do that. These people you elect to is not, the president is not the only person you should be worried about voting for at the end of the day.
Facts. Yeah.
Did y'all hear about the marijuana bill that they introduced today?
Oh, educate me.
Okay, so basically, they're in the House of Representatives today. They introduced a bill that they're going to vote on next month, which would de-federalize or de-legalize or legalize. I don't know why I say de-legalize. Legalize, or basically what they're doing is getting rid of marijuana being like illegal nationwide. So it's like it's classified as a Schedule 1 drug right now. So what they're doing, they're voting on a bill next month to get it off that Schedule 1 list and just leave it up to the states on whether or not they want it to be illegal or legal. And so I feel like that's like a big thing because in that bill, I think it also has something about like pardoning people who had former marijuana charges and stuff like that. But it still be up to the states. But I feel like it's a step in the right direction.
No, I mean, yeah, I mean, that's cool and all. I mean, that's cool, but all due respect to whoever was brought that up, or I'm not like you, not you. I'm saying whoever's like thought of that. I mean, that's good, but I feel like we have bigger issues other than that to worry about. Like,
Then,
yeah, I don't think marijuana like you should be in jail for that, but I think we should be looking at gun laws. We should be looking at police reform. We should be looking at different. We should look at our government members because I'm in a government class. I'm a political science person, and what I've learned is that at the end of the day, yes, the president has a lot of power. Like, but you should really be like looking more at your Congress members than your president, if that makes a lot more sense. Because the Congress has a little bit more what to do about the laws, the bills that are enacted, the bills that are spoke on, things that are enacted. Like all Trump can do is he's just kind of more of a public speaker. I mean, he has a lot of roles, but like the things that he said he was going to do during his presidency, only a handful of them have actually been done. And like that's not that's usually what happens when you're a president. You kind of have to go through Congress and you got to go through these other branches. So, like I said about the vote thing, like don't just vote in November 3rd. Vote all the time. Like Governor Abbott is no better than Trump. Like he with the whole coronavirus situation, he's not a good governor in my opinion. How he manages situations, what he thinks is important, he's no better than Trump. And what?
Oh, I was gonna say one other bill they introduced was the Justice for Breonna Taylor bill, and basically that bill is they want to outlaw no knock raids, which is I think also a step in the right direction. But
Okay.
that was introduced by Rand Paul.
So I was telling Oscar one day at lunch, what I was studying is that we're living in a mostly white uh, white people are the majority race right now. They're 50 something percent white in this country, and then you have Hispanic, then you have blacks after that. So within the next 5 years, we'll have if you add all the minority groups, Hispanics, blacks, and all the other ones as well, you would have a majority of minorities, if that makes sense. So what I was asking Oscar, and I'm opposed to you guys as well, do y'all think with that happening in the next 5 years? Because with our generation specifically, we're more prone to changes. We're prone to uh, interracial dating, interracial marriages. We're prone to approving new things, ways of life. We're more open and susceptible to change. So do y'all think that will have a big thing to do, not so much in the next 5 years, but like in the future?
Hopefully, because as things stand right now, while we might become the majority, um, you know, white people still hold a lot of power, most of the power in the United States. They own the big corporations, the big jails. They're all in the Congress, president, all that, So we have to really get out. It wouldn't just take the population, it would take genuine effort, like emphasizing the importance of voting even more than it's already is, or the importance of political education, because I was always one of them that were like, this stuff doesn't really matter. It's dumb.
Mm-hmm.
Why do I care? I want to be an engineer, But it's important so that you can know how to vote and who to vote for, and you can also educate others. So
Exactly.
it's going to take a group effort. We like just like we have to come together as a population. We have to come together, and really make a movement out of this.
I think people that don't get like the Black Lives Matter movement. I've seen people on Twitter. They're just like, he should have been listening to the officer. He should have did this. That has nothing to do with it. Like, I don't think anybody wakes up out of their bed and think I'm gonna get shot just for the color of my skin. I'm gonna have to be a certain way just because the color of my skin. And that guy shouldn't be paralyzed for any reason. Like, there's no reason why he should be paralyzed. And I think people don't understand is that it's not just the police thing that's like a big issue. It's about the system itself, how it's kind of built against minorities. Like, you have schools, you have these issues. Like, it's not just when you're like a minority, it's like you have to swim upstream instead of swimming with the stream, and you have to fight all these battles, whether it's education. You gotta work 2 or 3 times harder than your peer just because your skin color, and that's also something we also got to tackle. Because the reason why we don't have these minorities in power or minorities is because, with all due respect, it's a hard ask for these people to come from where they are to where they should, where they at. I mean, I know multiple minorities that have to. It gets tiring have to go through all that. Like, they shouldn't have to, but you're asking them to do something that, I mean, in all due respect, it's tiring, it's hard, and we have to look at public education. We have to look at all this stuff because that's not helping the cause either.
Yeah,
And
I think uh, one of the good things being done towards that is the y'all heard about the busing or the freedom to choose your school.
no.
Mm-mm.
Okay, so basically on the platform, see this the thing. All right, so Trump put this on this platform. It's kind of obvious it's trying to appeal to black voters because Democrats are kind of against it. So the idea is that you'll be able to choose your school. Like we have school districts now.
Hmm.
So instead of having to like being tied to your own school district, like say you want to go to Midway, like you have the freedom to go to Midway with no like there wouldn't be like a limit on transfers basically. So
Okay. With
so
that, but like, if I'm a student at university, and the pros at university is that I can be around people like me.
yeah.
I can go do dual credit for free. I
Mm.
feel like that's still gonna disencourage them to go to Midway, because Midway, you still got to pay for everything. You're not. It's not gonna be like equal to that.
But think about it like this, right? So Midway maybe not necessarily like it's not necessarily what I mean. It's like just being able to go to a better school. So say you're in like a underserved community, the schools you have access to, because schools rely off the property tax, you're not going to be able to get into a well-funded school. Um, so say this bill passes, you can go to a school in a better funded area, and I guess that would, on the surface, it maybe offer more opportunity, better teaching, but at the same time, if people are leaving the schools in their own area, then like those schools are going to close down because they don't have any funding, and then
Mm.
the kids who are still at those schools are going to be even worse off. So it's like I can see the goodness of the bill, but I can also see why people oppose it because the Democrats say we just need to fund schools better as a whole, and I
I
also
think
agree with that.
I,
But
I was telling Carla the other day when I was talking about like giving back to your communities. I told her, like, when I graduate and get like a decent paying job, what I would do instead of giving back to A&M, because I've pretty much made my thoughts known about how I feel about A&M. This neither here or there, but giving back to university, I feel like that's a little bit better, because university, the teachers, the people there, the environment there. Uh, I mean, just look at us where we, turned out. I know multiple people, and where it's at a minority based school. It would be a good thing to uplift that school, even though it doesn't need a lot. But same with that. But to close it off here? What do you guys think is what's next? What are the next steps we can take or expect? Each person kind of say a couple things.
can you specify a little more?
So what do y'all think? Do y'all think any bills will be enacted? What do you think, like, the next? Do y'all think there's going to be a drawing point? Like, I also hear like the argument of, black people are going to get tired of this and they're going to start a revolution and stuff like that. I feel like that's not the way to go. I don't agree with the violence and stuff on violence, but I understand, that mindset.
See, my opinion on the thought about people, anybody in America starting like a revolution or a civil war. Oh, it's Chanel. Anyway,
Gaga.
Boy,
she's like
There's
seven,
6.
but
I would say
Oh,
we're going there. But
somebody
anyway,
got bikes on.
but
yep, Oscar's phone died.
my
Oscar's
opinion.
phone died.
So anyway, my opinion on that is that like going there.
Hey,
You're on
Greg
headphones.
Greg.
Anyway, but my opinion on that is ain't no way a civil war is gonna happen in the U.S. anytime soon, or any revolution or anything. Because only time people actually revolt is when people don't got food in their stomachs. Like there's America's too, it's too well off to the way it's civil. It just people we don't have a starving populace like that. Like we definitely have people in poverty, but our like people aren't starving in the streets. Like there's still infrastructure in the country. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What about you, Brejon? What do you think the next steps, or what do you think actions people can take to further this thought or in it and educate people as well?
I feel like as bad as things are right now, I feel like things are going to get worse before they get better. As sad as that is to say,
That's just how
because
things typically go.
it's honestly been getting worse, and I feel like true change is not going to happen until we are able to get our generation into power, and I feel like that's when the real change is going to come, because most older people are not, what's the
They're stuck in
word?
their ways.
Yeah, they're not more, or they're not open for change or to look at a different point of view. And that's just no offense to them, but that's just how they were raised. And I would say our generation on up has been, we grew up differently from what they did, and there's a lot more information out there to be open minded about situations or have a different opinion on something and still be okay with the next person.
That's true. I just think the main thing here is if you haven't educated people around you, educate them, especially people that can't relate as well. I think
Thanks.
it's like I know Evan knows to a certain extent. Like Evan's black, all right. Rejon's black. Dre's black. Oscar's a minority. I mean, he's not black, but he's able to listen. But if you have people that may not see, I think the first step really is to educate those around you. And if people like, I think about it like this: if all lives matter to you or whatever you say, then you shouldn't have a problem with Black Lives Matter, and you should be able to listen and have a conversation. There's no reason that you shouldn't be open. I think it's crazy that like Black Lives Matter has turned into like a political statement more so than like an actual movement at times. And it's like it really like it's challenging to get things done when you have a president that literally makes anything con to what he says.
I have
Like
a
a political statement. Like wearing a mask is not a political statement. Like just wear your mask. That's all you got to do.
I have a question. All right,
But
so we all know there's people who disagree with Black Lives Matter, right? Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So what would you say to the people who say they disagree with the movement but not the actual sentiment?
okay, well I can see that. I mean, no offense, but the way have some of the Black Lives Matter, uh, I would say protests have conducted themselves with looting and stuff. I could see somebody saying that they don't agree with that, but as long as they agree with the general message and sentiment, I think that doesn't turn it. Like I think that's fine. Like I mean, you would just have to ask that specific person why you don't agree with the movement. I guess the sentiment. I guess.
I think the big problem is there's a lack of communication between